welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering small businesses such as yourself and hand-holding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayasseelan. Tonight, we're bringing you the Lucknow edition of our Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall, a series of interactions that we do across the country, interacting and connecting face-to-face and directly with small businesses such as yourself. We're discussing and debating, amongst other things, the fact that Uttar Pradesh is all set to become a $1 trillion economy. What role will small businesses have to play? We're talking about the economy in Uttar Pradesh, the economy of Lucknow, and also the role that small businesses like the ones who are here with us today are playing when it comes to the economy and the growth of the economy. And I think it would be a good place to start by perhaps coming to you first, Abhijeet, and asking you to really set the context and the stage, because you have the bird's eye view when it comes to what really is happening across the country for small businesses, but then you also know specifics about how the state is progressing and how small businesses are contributing. Yes, lots of challenges will come to that, but perhaps we'll kick off the panel on a positive note.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here, and welcome to all of you who are here to join this very fruitful and I think impactful conversation which we are going to hold in one of the highly enriched, resourceful state of India. And Uttar Pradesh has always been very special from the all perspective of our national development to the political decisions. This has to be very precise in terms of what is coming on the ground. We have a lot of talent, innovation, SMEs, policies, government, users, and many of these stakeholders together when they experience some of the changes. It starts from politics, it goes further into policy, and then it reaches to implementation and start affecting your life into a different mode which was not there before. So ease of doing business is something which is very, very much important, as any new technology which is landing in India have a very strong impact on any of the economy sector. So if you look at Indian economy, 1947 to a long period of time, we were an agri-based economy. Moving ahead, we become a product base and we started manufacturing, SME started coming and taking over. Further, now we have become a service-based industry where services are important, e-commerce, websites, selling things online, apps, these all things has become very, very important. But when it comes to bringing all this together, to do an impactful economy, we need to have policies in place which is giving you solutions for the problems.
Okay, we'll discuss a little more in depth about policy entrepreneurship. But Pradeep, I would like to come to you at this point and really ask for you to talk about, and this was something that you were mentioning previously, you're very passionate when it comes to what small businesses should do to become future ready. Particularly, we are talking about, of course, the ones in Uttar Pradesh. But in terms of contribution to the overall economy, and I want to go back to the theme, what more needs to be done? And do you feel enough contribution is happening of small businesses?
First I want to set this part that where we are as of now. We means state, UP. And based on the state performance, each and every SME's performance is linked. So no doubt we are third largest economy, UP, within India. But at the same time, if we see this same data, GDP per capita, then we are the second lowest in country. And if we see What is the reason why we are here? As per my experience and my study, the states which are around port, they are much more integrated with the national and international level business. Their contribution in a value chain is at higher level, means their margin, the input cost and the product which they are supplying in the market is having a more margins, and their products are future oriented. The market need in future where the competition is less, supply is less, and the product is new. So to move from this level to that level, we have to focus each SME or large industry and as a state as a whole is to focus to enter in a particular business where the margins are high, the product is futuristic, and we are at a higher level of supply chain, not at the base level.
I want to come to Professor and to Dr. Pandey and ask him, you were talking to me earlier about the productivity trap, and what exactly is that in relevance to the small businesses and your views in terms of small business contribution to the overall economy?
Sure. So what I was essentially mentioning was there is a low-hanging fruit, okay? And that low-hanging fruit is the growth in productivity across the globe, and I'm talking about growth in productivity, not productivity per se, okay? Growth in productivity has slowed down over last 20 years. If I take OECD countries, okay, and where I have done some work in terms of research, 2000 to 2005, the growth in productivity was 2.5% annually in that period. 2010 to 2015, same set of OECD countries, and those are, developed economies, okay? So this problem is pervasive. It's not only contained to developed or developing economies, it exists in developed economies. 2010 to 2015, that growth in productivity has come down to 0.5%. So we globally are being plagued with this issue that the growth in productivity is slowing down, and obviously that has implication upon your GDP growth. Okay, a strong growth in productivity has a multiplier effect on your GDP growth. Why it is particularly important for SMEs is it's a low-hanging fruit in the context of SMEs. For a large firm in a developed economy to increase productivity would translate into trying newer technologies, taking more risk in terms of unproven products, unproven processes, etc. But for SMEs, we have not even implemented what exists today and what has been proven. So it's very easy to just make those solutions portable to SME needs, implement them, and have a quick gain in productivity, which obviously is going to add to both SME profitability as well as the GDP growth. So that's what I was mentioning too.
Sure.
I'll just add one more point
Sure.
to what Pradeep was saying. That human capital is, I think, the biggest asset for Uttar Pradesh. But at the same point of time, we have to be conscientious that the dispersion in the quality of education of human asset is also very high. So we have to somehow restrict that dispersion and need to inculcate skills which are more targeted towards needs of future economy. Okay, we need to do some work in that aspect.
Okay, and how is this growth going to happen? Do you think SMEs need more rules, more structure, or more of a free market economy? On which side are you veering?
I think we need to have something in between. I hear often from people, okay, that all the problem in SME and MSME sector is for the reason that historically there was a lot of protection offered to the sector, and sector has become uncompetitive in the process, and it cannot compete. Now the processes are stale or the products are stale. Only reason they were surviving was because there were quotas, certain goods, or certain things where only SMEs can participate. I don't think that, a laissez-faire economy, a complete access to a free market world, let SMEs compete on equal footing with large companies is going to be helpful. There will be a need of hand-holding for at least, a significant period of time to come. And please understand that SMEs are structurally disadvantaged. I'll take a very small example, okay? I need a good CFO as an SME. Can I compete with, a large bank? A good talent will probably have preference to go to large bank than to come to SME. How do I compete with structural issues? My scale is actually a disadvantage to me, and I will need handholding. I think the more important point is that handholding has to happen at a local level, at a more granular level. The national level policies to help SMEs will have limited success, okay? Because we have to understand the context and develop solutions accordingly.
Do either one of you want to add to that? Yeah.
Different view about it, because SME is something which has existing from a period of time, and you have been serving to a segment which was either taking your product or it was taking your services. Until and unless you infuse something which is technically a reformation or transformation of the product, technology or service, it would not impact the user segment in a big way. And without making that, you'll have to sustain on a very narrow margin. This is what Pradeep was saying. The new technology or the service which is coming and going to impact, that require a lot of fundamental frameworking around it. It may be a regulatory body affair, it might be a sanction from a financial institution, it might also be a user adoption about it. So all these are not possible until and unless new ecosystems are developed. For an example, I usually quote from the Ease of Doing Business pilots itself. You are seeing e-commerce websites competing with each other from weeks to days to hours. Now you try to buy something on phone, they commit by 9 p.m. tomorrow or by today 9 p.m. So this still remains with the metro cities. So what necessarily is required, try to do in one of the recent pilot, that somebody who is lying between Delhi or Lucknow or Agra or Delhi, say for Vrindavan or Mathura, they have to buy microwave or laptop. They have very less margin for buying and going to Delhi or Lucknow. They want to buy from their own city, and it will only be possible if they compromise with the limited stock.
I'll slip into a short break on that note. We're back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here in Leaders of Tomorrow. You're watching the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall edition in Lucknow. Let me open it up for questions. Could I request that we have time to take about 4 or 5 questions? Please give us your name, what you do, which company, perhaps just some flavor, and requesting that you restrict your questions to today's panel theme.
My name is Architect Abu Saleh. I am from Vastu Linear Consultant Private Limited. My question is that today's what we have seen in construction line, just we have started our startup last year only. And what we are facing is that when we construction na, so there are lots of tenders available in the market. But being a startup, or you don't have more than experience of 3 years or ITR of 3 years, you can't get the projects what you wanted. You have the capability, you have the investment, you have everything, but due to the documentation process and all that, you lag behind.
I absolutely agree with you. You look at your one of the very promising infrastructure sector, where we say we used to make 9 to 10 kilometer roads per day, and today we make 38 to 40 kilometer roads. Same NHAI, same land, same people, same country, same state. How come 9 kilometer to 40 kilometers? In 2015, our Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highway, he came with a hybrid procurement model, which replaced TOT, EPC and TOT, toll operate transfer, build operate transfer, and EPC, engineering procurement construction. This brings us to a place where we have to very eye to eye, point to point connect with a technology which cannot be brought on L1, L2 tenders. These are all new technologies, very promising and has impactful power to transform the sector. But when you are going to procure, it has problems like this 3-year, 4-year, balance sheet, turnover. All these are only possible when you are going to bring a new type of model. We brought a new model because I think all of you in this hall will agree that our main and the foremost target is to reduce our oil import bill. And oil import bill is the biggest hit on the economy. How do we do that? You will have to go on the nuclear power, solar power, wind power, or hydel power. All of these are capital intensive.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, good evening. My name is Harjinder Singh. So my question is, we are all talking and speaking about innovations and research and developments. Now, this is being addressed to the small and micro enterprises. The problem is that this requires huge amount of money to address this issue. So how do you suggest that micro and small enterprises can address to this issue?
If you go to even a city like Bangalore, lot of small micro level companies are there. They are working on EV and all this type of activities. And the angel funders and venture capitalists are there to support them. You should have some idea and a skill to work on that idea. People are there in market. We have to position us that we have that skill set and we are consistent in our thought and we are working on that idea. So,
Sure.
We are a country of microeconomics. And if you look at the requirement which you are saying, is not your single or your own requirement. It's an requirement of the entire economy. If you do not upgrade as an SME with a new technology, R&D cost involved into it or upgradation cost, we do not grow as a country. But how do we do that? Can we, distribute subsidies? Can we reduce taxes? These are the popular steps which are given or which are being offered, which are being expected from government. But are they real? They are not for real. What we can do is fitting your product, your technology, your upgradation in a cycle where the usability reaches to the microeconomics. People, acceptability, they are promising. There are a lot of organization, NBFCs, banks and investors, and angel investors, seed investors who comes in for upgradation of one SME. Sunanda,
Unfortunately, I think there are a lot of challenges, but in the interest of time, I will have to come back to the panel and take closing comments. And my first is to you, Dr. Pandey. And I want to go back to something you were saying earlier, which was as far as skilling is concerned, and really talk about what, in your opinion, small businesses, whether in the state or whether nationally, need to do when it comes to becoming skill ready for future jobs.
I think skills have to be oriented to clusters which exist. And cluster economy has been a significant field of study for a long time, okay? Both Michael Porter and Pankaj Ghemawat at Harvard have done some work. You end up having developments in clusters, and those clusters are essentially certain sectors which develop in certain geography for the reasons of endowment that exists with that particular thing. So I think a skill has to align with the sectors, but I want to make a broader point. I think we need to introduce entrepreneurship in our formal education. National education policy is doing some work. What we need to do is, my bigger challenge is the fear of failure. The risk aversion inhibits the entrepreneurial venture. And I think that impediment is almost as significant as a regulatory hurdle or as, hurdle like ease of doing business. So we need to get entrepreneurship introduced in the formal education system.
Sure. I know this is not going to be an easy answer, but what is, according to you, the biggest challenge that small businesses face today, not just in the state, but nationally? And your advice for businesses about what you want to leave them with in terms of overcoming that challenge?
It will only be possible with a different set of entrepreneurs which are coming in India. What you heard from audience is there is a willingness in leadership to deliver something which has not happened before. Not in UP only, but in many parts of the country. And all politicians, all our leaderships are more concerned about giving more to the new generation. And they allocate funds for this. They run down a couple of exemptions and couple of subsidies, support and hand-holding for this. When it comes to ground implementation, we lose track somewhere in between. And that track losing is very, very significant loss to not only one segment, one person or one official or one process, but it's a loss to the entire economy.
Okay. If I can ask you to give us the last word, Mr. Mishra, and really talk about the world has become more interconnected, but do you feel SMEs are perhaps also, as connected as they should be with the global world, whether it's exports, whether it's just knowing what really is the best of what is happening, and if not, your advice about how to do that?
No business, or whether it is service or industry, can survive if it is not connected with national, international level. So, and fortunately, some of the good initiative taken by government, like Gati Shakti, dedicated freight corridor, Udan, and various schemes. The area which are landlocked are now connected with the rest part of the country and the world. You can export your product, you can ship your product within 24 hours, even if you are sitting in the deep part of the country. So these are the better part. We have to connect us with the national and international level business. Local business can't survive, can't give you margins in a longer run.
Sure.
Second point is you should skill your organization at top level and at bottom level, so that you should be future ready and present ready.
All right. I want to apologize for those questions we weren't able to take in the interest of time, but please do feel free to connect offline with the panelists. On that note, I want to thank all three of you for taking the time to join us here on the IDFC First Bank Presents the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall panel discussion. Round of applause for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Out of time on tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.